Hi, this is Troy from Queens of the Stone Age, and I want to wish Rock Radio a very happy 10th birthday. And we'll come see you soon this summer, and we can't wait.
Prvih 10 godina Rock Radija.
Thank you for joining us today in Belgrade with this special occasion you have there. But first,
Yeah.
I have to do something. Hi there!
Hi
Look what
there.
I got.
Oh, yeah.
This was in Times New Roman, actually.
Yes. Yeah, it's been a while already.
Yeah, it was like yesterday when this record came to me, and I was like, wow, when I saw this.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this bad dog and the end moment in the middle of it was something very inspiring, I suppose, for you also, because
Yeah.
you're floating between alive and dead these days.
That's true.
Yeah, I had that opportunity to see what you've done there in Paris, and it was wow. It was a very special experience. I have to tell you
Sure.
one thing that I did. I started watching Alive in Catacombs during the daylight, and something was really bad there, so I waited
Yeah.
for the evening and turned the lights off, and I think I was watching it with my eyes pretty shut most of the
Yeah.
time. So you did something really magical there.
Oh,
City of
thank you.
lights, yeah, city of lights above us, city of dead below us, and Queens of the Stone Age somewhere in between,
So,
I think.
yeah.
What was that experience like?
Well, you described a lot of it already. Yeah, it's you find yourself, um, the catacombs is sort of like this already a character in the making of this film, which is kind of interesting because it kind of dictated to us what songs we would play and how we would play them because there's really no electricity down there. We had a car battery to power the electric piano, and that's about it. So we really had to rethink our music, and at that spot, in our in our travels, we've been trying to do it for such a long time,
Yeah,
and
20 years, I think.
yeah,
It
yeah.
was in Josh's mind to do this.
Well, it takes not only that will to do it, but it also takes a lot of
Production.
production. And not
Yeah.
only that, you have to talk to the French government, so there's red tape there. And it didn't look like it was going to happen for a long time, but we were fortunate enough to let it that it came to light. So yeah, so you find yourself, that's a great way of putting it, city of lights above, the city of darkness below, and somewhere in the middle there we are. And it really hit home after being there for 14 hours that life is precious.
Yeah, is
and
it?
and you have to seize every possible moment that you can and make the best of it. So that's what we were trying to do with the film.
Did you feel it in that way you're describing it, or that was your purpose of this video? Because as we say that the dead have a final word.
That's well, okay, so on paper, when you're looking at this idea and in your head, you're thinking, isn't this going to be great? But once you're there, the heaviness really sets in. And I think the performance that you're seeing is sort of like this bizarre, delicate, vulnerable, melancholy side of us that not many people get to see. And so that's how we were trying to translate the heaviness of the situation, because you're looking all around and you're looking at these millions of people's bones and thinking about their, what was their life like, and they had a family and they had loved ones, and so it made you really appreciate, whatever time you have here. Yeah,
So it's enlightenment in a way.
sure.
Yeah, yeah. Parisian catacombs are something very specific in the whole world. Maybe the only place on earth like that, with millions of past lives living in eternity in those kilometers under ground. And
Yeah,
I was imagining you doing this, like wearing what you were wearing, putting your instruments down under, feeling that deafness of underground,
yeah.
and imagining you. We can see you in a studio now. Imagining
Hmm.
you recording all the beautiful things we're listening for decades now in so sterile um, rooms, and
Yeah,
going there in, I suppose, I'm imagining that like a pretty deaf space.
it's a yeah,
How did
yeah.
you hear yourself? How did you communicate with each other? How did you make it? It looks like magic when you watch the final product.
So that's a good question because we had no idea how it would sound down there, and we didn't have when we basically had what the tour is that everyone can take. We took the day before, but that wasn't really enough time in the space to figure out how we're going to do this all. There's so a lot of it is you could see what you're seeing is some forms of almost improvisation when it comes to the production and the sound and the lighting and the camera angles. But we were very in juxtaposition. We were very rehearsed, and usually when you see us live, we have the spirit of improvisation, but not with this. We were very direct and we had a very specific idea of how we were going to do these songs. So it was bizarre because you're trying to fit in that space, and it's a very, you know, not very reflective
Yeah.
material, bones, it turns out. It's very well, dead sounding, to not to put too much of a pun in there, but so it was a kind of a challenge to figure all that out. But I mean, it's amazing how much goes into a production like that, and so I'm very grateful to all the technicians that were there with us to make it look and sound as beautiful as it does.
It sounds magical,
Yeah,
really. You can hear your feelings. I think this is very,
yeah,
very special video and audio. I think that sound is the most important there, actually, and but it's very important for art. I think worldwide
sure.
to make it in some other forms that we already know, because art is what we hear in our souls and put it to other people to I don't know, listen and to feel and to, and you were the first ever who went down there, catacombs of Paris. And it's very interesting that you named your I don't know what to call it. It's not a movie, it's a document. Can I call it document?
Sure, yeah. I mean, it's just yeah, for us, it's just a moment captured. A very
Yeah.
short, to us, it's what, 5 songs? It's a very short moment, but that's as much as we could get out of one day there. They gave us one day. And
Yeah.
so, yeah.
I just wanted to ask you about the name. It's not live in catacombs, it's
Oh,
alive in
yes.
catacombs. Yeah,
Yeah,
it was on purpose, of course. But do
yeah.
you feel more alive after that experience? First time
I,
ever.
I would say that it changed each one of us in a way that we would have never expected, and I would agree with that. Yeah. It made me really appreciate my life above ground. And every day that you're alive, you gotta, make the best of it. So I would say, yeah, that's a good observation. And as far as like making art, for us, it's about challenging ourselves and doing things that are different than what we normally do. I think that applies to, most artists, challenging yourself and, trying to do something, outside of your comfort zone, and seeing how you react and seeing how you make it happen. There's different pitfalls and there's different circumstances. So those make you, for me, it makes me more, um, it just makes me feel like, challenges are always good.
Challenges are what makes us alive and feel alive, for sure. You mentioned there are only 5 songs in this session, in this document, in this moment of time, moment of eternity, eternité. That was a sign very on a very important place in that video.
Yeah.
How was it hard to make that set list? Have you ever made a set list for 5 songs?
Well, no, I mean, I think that was actually kind of one of the easier parts, because there are these songs that are, we've been recording for, decades, that, they express a different part of what our band, is known for. And
Mhm.
so for us, it's nice to reimagine songs, in that way. There's a part where we have the song called Running Joke, which we've had for 20 years, and we've done a couple of different versions of it. That hasn't been very well publicized or done a proper release of it. But to turn that song into one of the newer songs, Paper Machete, and to have that medley work out, that was exciting and kind of fun and unusual. And so, um, having the string players there really made us realize that, oh, we do like arrange our music with guitars and bass and drums in a way that's can be orchestral. And
Mhm.
so you don't really, until you like look at it and go, oh yeah, the violins can do all this really beautiful stuff, and I can just play rhythm guitar and just back them, so they become this forward part of our music that changes it for us and everyone else. So it's a nice, feature that I think we're gonna, try to do more of.
Yeah, please do. Please
Yeah.
do.
Okay.
Prvih 10 godina Rock Radija.